You ready? Good morning, YouTube. What's up, guys? I hope you're safe and healthy and happy and doing okay. Usually in my first run impressions, you guys know how it goes. I talk to you before I go on my run, but we're skipping all that today. We're getting right into my first run impressions of the Nike Zoomx Invincible. That is the right name, right? All right, confirmed. Nike Zoomx Invincible Run Flyknit. That's a lot. We'll just call it the Invincible. So I've had this shoe for a little over a week now, and if you've been kind of following my running journey on Instagram or Strava or whatever the case is, you know that I had to take a little bit of time off because I'm having some like PF/knee issues. So I took 6 days off after my first run in this shoe, and then today I ran in it again for this review just to give it a little bit more of a test. And I think I can finally give you my first run impressions of this shoe. So this has kind of been a highly anticipated shoe for a while. Nike really teased us with the release of this shoe. I mean, it took them months and months to finally bring it here to the US, and now we finally have it. And I think a lot of people were hoping that this would kind of be a replacement of the Pegasus Turbo, which was a shoe that a lot of people really enjoyed, could go the distance, but also could pick up the pace in it. It had some ZoomX, but also had some React. Well, this is full-length ZoomX foam, and I'm not so sure that it's a Pegasus Turbo replacement, but they do have some similar qualities. But before all that, you know what you have to do. Sit through a minute of me running in the shoe to music. Duh. Before we get started today, I do want to let you guys know that this shoe was provided to me by Running Warehouse. However, they're not going to see this video before you. They can't tell me what to say. Nike isn't telling me what to say. And all of my opinions, as always, are 100% my own. All right, now for the specs. The Nike Zoomx Invincible is about 8.9 ounces for a women's size 8. And for my size, 10.5 women's, this shoe came in at about 10 ounces. According to Nike, it has an 8.4 millimeter drop with 34.2 millimeters of stack in the heel and 25.8 in the forefoot. Very specific. And for me, the Nike Zoomx Invincible is true to size. Though, I do suggest trying this shoe on and any shoe on in a store if possible so you can really see how it fits for you. All right, now let's start with the upper. Another day, another Flyknit shoe that feels different from the last. This is a Flyknit construction for this upper. It is kind of breathable, although we will get to that. I do think it could be a lot more breathable. The overlays in the midfoot are pretty minimal, but if you go to the back of this shoe, the heel counter is very sturdy, so I do think that your heel will be locked in there pretty securely. So yeah, I mean, if you compare this shoe to the last Nike shoe that I reviewed, the Tempo Next Percent, the Flyknit could not feel any more different. Like, it's literally completely a different material. I don't care what anybody says. In this case, this feels more like a stiff, thicker knit, sort of like an engineered mesh, but I do see where the knit characteristics come in. In terms of breathability, this is not going to be the most breathable shoe. It's fine now for colder weather if that's what you're experiencing, but I do worry about how the shoe is going to feel in the summer. I definitely think it's going to be a little bit hot. I do think though that the rigidity of it does keep you in place on the platform in the midfoot. Like I said, not a ton of overlays, but I do think this material will help keep you secure. Lengthwise in the toe box, I had plenty of room, and I do think that widthwise, this also does open up a little bit. So there is some room on the sides as well for your foot to kind of breathe. There are a couple of things about this upper that I don't really understand, and we're gonna start with the laces. These do not feel like they belong on this shoe. They're really thick, they don't stretch, and they're super short. So honestly, if you wanted to use this last loophole to, I don't know, secure this shoe down if you were experiencing heel slippage, good luck, because I don't think there's enough lace here for you to really do that. The tongue is wide and very thick, but it is comfortable, so I can't really complain too much. And it's also gusseted, which I do really like because it gives you a really nice fit through the midfoot and keeps you locked down on that platform. And then if we move to the back of the shoe by the heel collar, you do have plenty of padding around here. I didn't find it to be too much padding inside, just enough, felt comfortable. But what confuses me a bit is like the puffy cushioning on the outside of the shoe in the same area, like here and here. I don't really find a use for that, and I think it just adds weight to the shoe, and I do think this shoe could be a little bit lighter. For me personally, they're right in the ballpark of where a daily trainer's upper should be. Just enough structure, not too much, but there are some areas where I do think there should be improvements. That being said, I had no issues with hot spots, blisters, irritation, nothing of the sort. So overall, they did a pretty good job with this. The midsole of the Zoomx Invincible is Nike's coveted Zoomx foam, and there is a whole bunch of it here. If you're unfamiliar with what Zoomx is, basically it is Nike's highest performance foam. It is made of a Pebax material. It is extremely soft, extremely bouncy, and it's kind of got a cult following at this point. Stepping into the shoe for the first time, before you even run in it, it feels like you're wearing a moon boot. It is extremely bouncy and soft, especially from the midfoot to the heel. You do get that same sensation in the forefoot, but it is slightly less intense than it is in the rest of the shoe. Okay, so the first time I ran in the shoe was last week, and I ran 5 miles at a pretty easy pace for myself, and the shoe felt great. I think that despite the fact that this is supposed to be like a high performance foam for Nike, the shoe will do really well, even on your easier days. Today I ran a 5K at an 8:20 pace, which is kind of like a steezier pace for myself. I didn't want to go too crazy because of how I've been feeling, but I did want to see how the shoe would do at a little more of an up-tempo pace. And I did think that this shoe did really well. So whatever your pace is for your easy days and for your steezy days, I think that this shoe is going to be great for that. I mean, there is so much cushioning under your foot here that I have no doubt that this shoe can do double-digit runs with ease. It's not as fierce and as propulsive of a ride, obviously, because there is no plate to go along with it. But I think on its own, it really does get the job done just fine. When I picked up the pace in this shoe a little bit, did a couple strides here and there, I did feel like it performed well in that circumstance. I'm not sure that I would pick up this shoe for that. I think it's more of a shoe that acts as a daily trainer, that if you want to do something faster during your daily training runs, you absolutely can. But there are other shoes, honestly, that I would pick for those faster days. I did see a couple people reporting some issues with the arch in the shoe, like it's too present and gets kind of uncomfortable. I actually don't feel that personally. So not saying it's not there, but I did not have that experience. Another thing that I find interesting about the shoe are the stability aspects of it. We do have a flared out heel here that I think is supposed to just keep you a little bit more stable. Zoomx is not the most stable foam, definitely neutral through and through. So they did try to make this a little bit wider for us pronators and people who need stability shoes. However, this is great and all, but when you are coming this far inward here in the midfoot, you're just asking for people to overpronate. And that's something that I definitely did in this shoe. Overall, for me, so far in this shoe, it's been a really pleasant, fun experience. This is definitely a shoe that you put on your foot and you're like, wow, that feels crazy. If we turn the shoe over, you'll see that Nike is using a waffle-like pattern here of blown rubber. According to Nike, this pattern was created using runner-informed data for traction where you need it. I had no issues with this traction. In fact, I think it's pretty good. It doesn't make the shoe feel stiff or anything negative like that, so that's a huge plus. I took this shoe out on 2 dry days that, you know, had some sand and some dirt and some pavement, cement, that sort of stuff, and it held up fine in every circumstance. It really doesn't get in the way, and I didn't have to really think about the outsole too much, which is nice. I don't really like to think about outsoles. I mean, I guess we could lose some of this rubber so that we could cut down on weight, but I do understand why Nike gave us so much of it. It's supposed to be a daily trainer that's here for the long haul, and I think that this outsole will be that. The Nike Zoomx Invincible is $179.95 on runningwarehouse.com, which I think is high. I think is overpriced, though I'm not surprised, because Nike likes to do that with their shoes. Still, this is a really, really fun shoe and a great option for you if you're looking for a long distance running shoe. So if you're interested in it, I'll put a link in the description of this video. Click that link and pick up your own pair. Keep in mind that is an affiliate link with Running Warehouse. However, that doesn't mean much for you. It just helps out my channel so I can keep making these videos and help you pick out your favorite shoes. I'm especially excited to take it out on some faster days and see what it can do. Despite being 10 ounces for my size, you know, the Zoomx is really bouncy. It is really responsive, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is a perfect versatile shoe. If you just want one shoe, you can take this for long days and also speed days. That's what the full review is for. So we're gonna find out. Do you have the Zoomx Invincible? Have you gotten it? Do you enjoy it? Do you hate it? What do you think about it? Leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And so far, I believe the hype. What can I say? Well, guys, that concludes my first run impressions of the Nike Zoomx Invincible. If you enjoyed this video, please like it down below and subscribe. And when you're done with all that, hit the notifications bell down below so you can find out every time I upload a new video. Now, this is how you do pink the right way. Not this. I have some more videos for you guys next week, but in the meantime, get out there, get on the grind, and don't forget to run like Heller. See you next time. I'm especially excited. I just said especially, oh my God.